Welcome to Golden Age Now, a channel dedicated to developing as best version selves into a best version planet Earth that empowers and supports us into being best version selves, which supports the planet, and the cycle continues. Welcome to Golden Age Now. We're going to have a quick taste of the intro song, and then, new segment, we're going into some news. Here we go. Moonshot We. Just a taste of the is available MP3 at iTunes, full version. It's got bass trombone in there.
I've got enough of this life I've been living in. I need to release the past and rocket my moonshot with new energy, drive propulsion. Moonshot we, moonshot vibrations, the best version that we can be for the Earth's elevation. Moonshot different cryptos, yeah, that's cool too. But the stress of the ups and downs of volatility was getting to me. Remember now, more powerfully centered ways with capacity to contribute positively to the shift today. My life I can save, and I can contribute to yours.
Woo! Moonshot We. Just a taste of the into the news we go. We have a Canadian news story, we have a US news story, and then we have a new segment, Truth to Gauge Lies. Two news stories. One of them, a food inflation fix. First, some context for all of these stories. In recent years, there's been increasing conflict between farmers and government, which can readily be seen as feed the people or feed industry. The spiritual war that permeates everything currently unfolding on Earth at present can be distilled into several core understandings. One is that it is a battle of wills, one side for the control of the many for the benefit of the few, and the other is to empower all to have the freedom of choice and awareness to develop as best version selves that develop a best version planet. Another articulation of this is it is a battle between forces for unnatural and forces for the natural, also known as the organics and the inorganics. The Canadian news story. What the fuck with the psychopathic timing of attack upon the crops, the farmers, and those that would have been fed by them, transpiring in the Waterloo, Wilmot Township of southwestern Ontario. 2 weeks prior to harvest, the crops were plowed into the ground. I watched an installment from Instagram, and it showed one of the farmers indicating that if you plant a crop, you have the right to cultivate a crop. It is a law, I presume it's provincial law in Ontario. From the Waterloo Record, an online publication, perhaps with physical copies as well, I learned a little bit more about this situation. I was reading about it earlier today. From the Waterloo Record. When farmers were first contacted, they were informed that if they did not sell, the land would be expropriated. Expropriation means that if an offer is not accepted, the goods would be taken, or the land would be taken, would be seized. Affected farmers and critics have said they feel disrespected by expropriation threats and by being kept in the dark about industrial plans. 21 Freedom of Information requests on the subject have been declined. Farmers that have accused the region of seeking to intimidate them by plowing 160 acres of corn into the ground after buying land at the site. So when I was watching a farmer speak about this a few days ago, he said that he had the right, if you plant it, you can harvest it. And that 2 weeks prior to harvest, the crops were destroyed by a third party. What I learned from the Waterloo record is that the land had been purchased, and from the purchased land, the crops were destroyed. 2 weeks prior to harvest. What were the intentions to destroy the crops? They were negative. Clearly they were negative. They were potentially they were evil. Clearly they did not have the public good at their core. Even though that land and all of the land has not, the land use has not been determined yet in that area, it's still up for dispute with the expropriation terms still underway. Even though that parcel of land that had been plowed had been purchased, it seems so nefarious that this was done. Why not wait, let the crop be farmed, and there's going to be no groundbreaking for the industrial plans for some time yet. This shows a lack of trustworthiness, and there's a lot of attempts at who's to blame, questions about who's to blame in this situation. My take is that we have other ways of doing things. It has been claimed that the lands are for a battery factory for electric vehicles. We have alternative measures for power generation, and we have alternative measures that don't necessarily require power storage. Clean, powerful, exotic, zero-point energy, for example. We also have alternative ways to farm production. So if we had to change land use, we could be increasing the efficiency of our use elsewhere. Or perhaps with more powerful power generation technologies released, stuff that's been hidden, we wouldn't need to expropriate any land. We have other ways of doing things. And more on alternative ways to enhance farm production later today. In U.S. news, U.S. Army veteran, current reserve officer, former Democratic congressional member of Hawaii, and former U.S. presidential candidate Tulsi Gabbard for speaking about who really controls the U.S. government and apparently the Five Eyes governments of Canada, the U.S., Britain, Australia, and New Zealand, and seemingly more, for criticizing also Kamala for being a weak candidate that would likely in order to appear strong, would start more war. The day following these very clear assertions and expressions of the state of America and the state of our world, she was placed on a terrorist watch list and now requires extensive HR from the human and canine kingdoms for any flight she boards. Because the military-industrial complex digs their hefty bills, and because lawfare is an issue in America. A fitting inclusion with other news stories. Today we welcome a new segment called Truth to Gauge Lies. What is conspiracy theory? We're going to look at two examples. Two highly newsworthy examples. But first, let us consider a book. It is said that we ought not judge a book by its cover. This being that the depth of a book is not necessarily represented by the superficialness of its cover. When we consider books marketed for publication, the surface does reflect something of the book. It gives some idea of what can be found in the depths. Now, in terms of conspiracy theory, the book of conspiracy theory, on its cover, we have, as presented to the public, nothing to see here. Yet, if we were to open this book, there are much depths to be explored. Before we get further into this segment of Truth to Gauge Lies, it is appropriate on the topic of a book to consider this one. Available currently through Amazon. You can find it readily by searching What Really Happened, Two Worlds. What really happened? On a world with so much deception, this is a great source of understanding, of clarity, of grounding, of confidence in a world that often destabilizes people with confusion. Again, I mentioned deception. What really happened? A tale of two worlds and the path to the golden age. Readily, this can be found by searching What Really Happened, Two Worlds, 5 words. All written while sleeping in a car, and eventually the car didn't run. It's mostly about the world, and it comes from the perspective of somebody in long-term development, yet found themselves living in a car that eventually didn't run. And it was not a complicated, rather it was not a simple fix. It was a complicated situation and very much connected to personal financial poverty, and probably poverty of other kinds as well. This is a book of great wealth for all of us. To the news segment, back to the news, the truth to gauge lies. What is conspiracy theory? One more note of context. Spiritual bypassing is ignoring real issues and creating as much a blissful state of mind as possible. And it's an all good kind of naivety, one that addresses no issues other than the happiness of one's state of mind. Ascension is happening upon the earth. Light warriorship is happening too. Love and compassion and forgiveness are so powerful, and they are the best defense. Sometimes they alone are not enough. Maui, Lahaina, 1 year later. Here's about 2 minutes of footage from the scene last year, immediately following the devastation, footage that I included in a recent video that I had from earlier in the year, recent to this year. Footage called Goodness Gracious Balls of Transformative Fire. Let's look at that footage and come back.
Oh, look it. We're going to show you some more things as we're walking along here. How did that not disappear? If this melted, how did that cone not completely disappear? Because if you look at this vehicle, and I want you to notice the burn, the amount of grass, as you can see, that burned and the char marks. This car is basically completely surrounded by gravel, and you can small little flames right here when this grass burned. Yet when you turn and look right in this direction, besides seeing Dylan, my technical cameraman, you can see this car. And for all you scientists out there that have been sending me images and you're asking me if they're real, I'm here to tell you, in Jesus' name, what we're showing you is real, live on YouTube. So if you enjoy content like this, we ask you to please immediately like this, share this, subscribe to the channel. Why? Because you are our only hope of getting this world through the YouTube algorithm. The tire that is gone, these are the braids of steel inside the tire. Look at this particular rim. Is it safe to say these are aluminum?
Look at the windshield. What's that?
Are these aluminum?
Yeah, that's cast aluminum wheels.
Cast aluminum wheel, you can see it melted.
And the windshield on the inside?
Look at the windshield. That is a windshield right there that is completely melted. We have some jumper cables in the back of the vehicle, or we have some cast aluminum here that's pulverized.
It's just dust.
Grass fire that did not come from this direction, because you can see there's nothing that's been burned over here. What could cause that type of destruction?
Do you see how obviously this could not have been caused by wildfire? Various additional anomalies were covered and appeared to indicate that many people were involved with the organization of this travesty, this attack upon humanity. What I want to draw special attention to is the obviousness that this was not wildfire. And where is the truth in media and truth in reporting? The narrative of the mainstream news is not a good thing. Empowering ourselves and choosing to rise above and beyond, this is good, very good. Beyond the matrix, some are calling this the matrix of mind control. For our second truth to gauge lives, what is conspiracy theory example, we have a food inflation fix. Though I've known of electroculture for about 1 or 2 years, days ago I learned that in the 1920s, Justin Christoflo developed revolutionary farming practices to significantly improve yields and prevent plant disease. I'm looking forward to getting a copy of his original work in audiobook, or perhaps a newer version, perhaps a pair of them, becoming more of an expert with this. Though as I simply understand, one needs to, with copper wire, wrap a length, say a wooden dowel, it could be a branch of varying lengths. Longer is better. You can use shorter lengths for house plants, longer lengths for the exterior. You wrap with coil, according to a favorite YouTuber of mine, Doug from Off Grid with Doug and Stacy. He says it needs to be counterclockwise. I'm not sure that matters. Wrapping the length with a longer length, he said, but 18 inches into the ground. And this radiates an energy that enhances plant growth, often dramatically and in a short period of time. It also can keep insects away, prevents disease, and this connects so much with not only food production, but the world of our future. But as an example, before we move on, of truth to gauge lies, what is conspiracy theory, and 2 examples of truth in media, rather the truth being excluded, we can see that the mainstream agenda is not one that is designed to proliferate the solutions. Indeed, it's about conflict, separation, strife, fear, profit for the few rather than widespread profit for the many, and profit for the many of all kinds, abundance of all kinds. That means vitality of body, mind, and spirit, mental, emotional, spiritual, the fruition and the manifestation of the good works of our lives, the mission, what we have come to earth for. The world of our future is a world comprised of best version everything, no longer held back by dark controls and a sleeping populace that allows this to occur. We will be deeply in tune with energetics. This applies to our vessels and what we do with our consciousness, both mentally and our heart consciousness as well. Also energetically, in the world of our present into our future, this applies to our technology. Some frequencies are harmful and some are beneficial. Generally, in the old world, we've increased the former and hidden the latter. We've increased harmful frequencies, toxicities, and we have decreased, we've hidden healing frequencies, beneficial frequencies. In the new world, we eliminate the harmful and we proliferate the beneficial for power generation, healing and vitality, even for limb generation and age regression, for food production as mentioned, and for more, for as many in many ways as we can utilize beneficial energetics. And we refine, we distribute, we share, we collaborate. And we do this as a planetary society, not a new world choice and not an order. A new world choice, not an order. Golden Age Now is dedicated to the liberation of Earth for the establishment of best times in widely known history. Also new to this channel today is the Patreon. In addition to being a supporter of establishing the Golden Age Now, we have Brights of the Round Table, this channel's Patreon, which includes the primary benefit of weekly Zoom calls for best version selves and planet. This is a collaborative call, not limited to community, planning, and development. Upcoming bonuses, upcoming benefits include ebook and physical copy bonuses. Another upcoming benefit, definitely a fun one, this will be a monthly music collab for as amateur or pro as you're feeling to go, and anything that charts the participants of that month, we shall split the revenue evenly. There will be 2 tracks per month. One Zwin starts, probably with some beats, maybe with the guitar and beats groove, number of possibilities. Probably it'll be some segments of beats. I got quite a library of Zwin-a-Fly-Roo beats. There'll be 2 tracks per month. One Zwin starts, and the other First In starts. Could be started by anyone. That's a member of Brights of the Round Table. With the initial and the primary benefit, the weekly Zoom calls, which are the essence of Brights of the Round Table, a collaboration of community for best version selves and best version planet. Also for planning and for development on a weekly basis. If you've made it this far today, thanks for participating with Golden Age Now. The feature song to close out today's installment is Liberate the Homeworld. And we're going to change the angle of the camera because it's likely going to be better balance with the vocals and the beats. This one's called Liberate the Homeworld. Liberate the Homeworld. Let's do it, y'all. Beautification thereafter. It turns out that it's a liberty op for the Golden Age. Still working on getting these lyrics tight. Got some assistants that they come out right. A bit more volume. Dragon Fever rising up year 2024. Such an epic year, history books for sure. Dragon Fever rising up year 2024. Such an epic year, history books for sure. Lies, they're filling up the planets of the skies. People turn against each other while the actual villains hide. We need a bit more treble, a little less bass in these beats. They're still good though. In this version. Truthful awareness has been expanding. 2024 for more of the people to rise in power and in spirit. In power and in spirit. All the pieces are available. We put them in play. All the pieces are available to understand the nature of these days. We find ourselves in the age of the people's rise. Deceptions and manipulations, now is the time for their demise. Truly we arise from the inside with great changes coming forth. 1 to the 2, 2 to the 3. Are you gonna help me set the planet free? 1 to the 2, 2 to the 3. Liberation, love, and joy is what we naturally be. Liberation, love, and joy is what we naturally be. Are you gonna help me set the planet free? Liberation, love, and joy is what we naturally be. Are you gonna help me set the planet free? Drag people rising up, yeah, 2024. Such an epic year, history book for sure. Dragging year on into 2025. We'll continue our planetary rise. These years are ours. These years are ours. We will get past Mars. Drag year continuing on into 2025. We'll continue our planetary rise. These years are ours. We will get past Mars. These years are ours. That was back to the top on that drop as we rise. The ascension, liberating the earth into best version selves and planet. Let's go.